The DCU is about to introduce its most brutal and compelling hero yet, and it's not who you think. We all think we know Supergirl, the hopeful, sunny hero who lives in her famous cousin's shadow. But in the upcoming movie in 2026, helmed by director Greg Gillespie, it's ripping a page from a story that throws all of that right out the window. It's a story that James Gunn himself said features a much harsher and more messed up character than Superman. I've been connecting the dots, and I'm pretty sure I've pieced together the entire plot for the new Supergirl movie that comes out next year. Get ready for a dark, interstellar western fueled by pure rage and grief. This is a story where a jaded Kara Zor-El on her 21st birthday flies to a remote alien planet just to get drunk and try to forget her memories, but her trip gets cut short by a little girl with a huge sword and a mission of revenge, a mission that's going to drag Supergirl into a fight far darker than anything she's ever seen on Earth. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what to expect from what might be one of the most important films in the entire new DC universe. Okay, so to really get this story, you have to forget almost every version of Supergirl you've seen before. The movie is a direct adaptation of Tom King's and Evely's incredible comic series, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and the whole thing hinges on one massive tragic difference between Kara and Clark. Superman was just a baby when Krypton exploded. He was raised on Earth by two loving parents in a world full of hope. Kara Zor-El, not so lucky. In the story, she was 14. She actually stood on a surviving piece of her homeworld, Argo City, and watched everyone she knew and loved die before she finally made it to Earth. She didn't get a gentle childhood, she got pure trauma. This isn't a story of a hero finding her place, it's a story of a survivor just trying to find a reason to keep going. And that's where the movie kicks off. It's Kara's 21st birthday, she finally gets old enough to legally drink on Earth, but what's the point? Our yellow sun means she can't get drunk, can't get that escape that she really wants. So she grabs her dog Crypto and jets off to a distant planet orbiting a red sun, a place where she isn't special, isn't powerful, a place for nothing at all. She finds the grimmest bar around and orders a drink, just looking for a little oblivion. But she's not gonna find it. Instead, a young girl is about to walk in and flip her life upside down. This is when she meets Ruthie, a small, stubborn alien girl carrying a sword almost as big as she is. Ruthie's world has just been destroyed. Her father, a kind school teacher, was murdered in cold blood by a man named Kerm of the Yellow Hills. With the local law being completely useless, Ruthie has taken her family's life savings to do the one thing she can think of, hire a mercenary to hunt the killer down. And the mercenary she wants to hire? Supergirl. Kara, completely jaded and just wanted to be left alone, immediately says no. She's off duty and this isn't her fight. She tells Ruthie to get lost, but Kerm is that type of coward who doesn't like loose ends. An associate of his sent to silence Ruthie for good attacks him right there in the bar. In the fight, Kara's ship is totaled, and way more importantly, Crypto gets badly hurt. All of a sudden, this isn't some abstract job anymore, it's personal. Kerm's actions hurt her family, so Kara strikes a new deal with Ruthie. She will help her hunt this man down, and their journey together kicks off. And this is where the story really gets going, a brutal chase across the cosmos. It's an incredible story, and if you're enjoying this breakdown thus far, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any coverage for the entire new DCU. From this moment, the story morphs into a gritty interstellar western. Kara, Ruthie, and a healing Crypto hop on a space-jarring bus and start their relentless hunt for Kerm. Their journey will take them across a string of bizarre and dangerous planets, each one with its own deadly quirks. They ain't just chasing a man, they're trying to survive a galaxy that couldn't care if they make it. The real hard part of this film is the bond between Kara and Ruthie. At first, they're just partners of circumstance. Kara is the muscle, the tough-ass nail survivor who knows how to fight. Ruthie is the compass, her single-minded quest for revenge pointing the way. But as they travel, something deeper starts to grow. Kara looks at Ruthie and sees a reflection of her own childhood trauma, a kid being eaten alive by the same rage that's been hunting her for years. This puts Kara in a really awkward spot. She finds herself trying to teach Ruthie the line between justice and vengeance, all while fighting back her own demons, screaming at her just to incinerate the guys who get in their way. She's trying to be the role model she never had, and she's not even sure she has the right to be. Their journey isn't just about catching a killer, it's about Kara finally facing her own past through the eyes of this little girl dead set on revenge. So who is this big villain they're chasing across the universe? Kerm of the Yellow Hills isn't some cosmic god or a superpowered monster, and that's precisely what makes him so terrifying. He's just a cruel, pathetic man, a former king who has been kicked out of his brutality. Now he's just drifting through space, leaving a trail of broken lives behind him simply because he can. He murdered Ruthie's father for no reason beyond petty spite. He represents the pointless, everyday kind of evil. He's the bully, the abuser, the kind of villain who doesn't need a grand plan to be a monster. His evil is personal, which makes the mission to stop him feel so urgent. As they travel, Kara and Ruthie hear more stories about the other lives he's ruined, turning their personal quest into something bigger, stopping a cancer from spreading across the galaxy. He becomes less of a man and more of a symbol for all the random cruelty that has been defined so much of Kara's life. Catching him isn't about saving the universe, it's about proving that even the smallest acts of evil, have to face a reckoning. After a long, punishing chase, they finally have him cornered, but the climax isn't the giant, explosive battle you might be expecting. It's a tense moral showdown. They find Kerm broken and beating, about to be killed by one of Galaxy's deadliest predators. He's about to get exactly what he deserves, and Ruthie is ready to let it happen. Sword in hand, her revenge is right there. This is Kara's defining moment. Every ounce of her rage and trauma is screaming at her just to step aside and let this monster get erased. It would be easy, it would feel like justice, but then she looks at Ruthie and sees a dark path of violence that will shallow the girl whole if she lets her take it. So instead of letting revenge win, Kara saves Kerm's life. She saves this worthless, evil man, not just for him, but for Ruthie. She chooses compassion over rage, not because the villain deserves it, but because the child beside her deserves a future that isn't built on killing. She takes Kerm into custody to face an actual systematic justice, breaking the cycle of violence. In that moment, she finally crawls out of the shadow of her past and becomes more than a survivor. She becomes a true hero, the woman of tomorrow. So what does this all mean for the movie? We are getting Supergirl unlike we've ever seen on screen. This is a story about working through trauma, the poison of revenge, and finding a new purpose when you feel completely lost. It's a deep character study hiding inside a sci-fi adventure. The casting of Millie Alcock, who we all know from the fierce role in House of Dragons, already proven she can bring the fire and resilience this version of Kara needs. It suddenly makes perfect sense. She has the telling that the film's title, originally announced as Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, is now simply being called Supergirl. This change suggests that DC wants this to be the definitive take on the character for their new universe. The big question left is how the movie might change the comic. Some speculate, fueled by leaked set photos, suggest Kara might spend more time on Earth than in the book, which could be a way to tie her story more directly into the new Superman film. Will this movie keep the comic's patient, poetic tone, or will it lean more into the action? With director Greg Gillespie, who made Cruella and I, Tonya at the helm, the potential for a complex, nuanced film is off the charts. He's an expert at telling stories about complicated, anti-heroic women. This is a shaping to be a dark, emotional, and ultimately uplifting story about a hero who has to save herself before she can save anyone else. What part of the story are you most excited to see hit the big screen? Let me know down in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. I love you so much. Thank you for all the support recently. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers.